And we'll kind of stay here for about 5 minutes. So you can sit cross-legged. If you're more comfortable with a lotus position, my hips are not liking that at all. So you can just sit relaxed. Another option is have a pillow. This is kind of a big fat pillow, but you can also put it underneath your bottom, and that can also be a really nice way to kind of let your hips open up. And I have my little kitty here. I think she wants to do some kitty yoga, but hopefully she's not distracting. So we'll start in the seated position, and this is just going to help us get grounded and set the tone for today's yoga class. So again, I'm very grateful to have you all here. A hand select people that I thought would be a good feedback for me. So with your hands on your lap or on your knees, I want you to close your eyes and take a deep belly breath in and exhale. Deep breath in, fill the belly, open up the chest. See if you get a little bit taller. And then slowly exhale. Think of your breath as going up in an elevator. So start at the belly, at the very base of your belly, where your belly button is, and take that breath up the elevator, nice and smooth, climbing, climbing. And then as you exhale, go down just as slow. So going down all the floors. And then let's see if we can add a leather floor to the elevator. So breathe in. And slow exhale. So I want to incorporate Ujjayi breathing. So bring your lips gently together and breathe in through your nose. And exhale through your nose. So you should hear an audible sound coming out of your throat as you breathe in. And breathe out. So throughout your practice today, I'll bring you back to this Ujjayi breath. So slow breathing in and slow breathing out. And this helps keep us present. And exhale. All right, so let's open your eyes. So roll your shoulders up and back. And we're going to just align our shoulders and our hips. So breathe in, roll your shoulders up and back. And now notice your ears and bring your ears in line with your shoulders and your hips. We're going to drop our right ear to your right shoulder. Notice that both shoulders are down. Take those breaths. And out. Come up. Take a breath in and then switch to the other side. So a big part of today's class or practice is around neck and shoulders. So we're starting slow, just seeing how you feel. And if there's anything that's coming up, just kind of breathe into that area. And try not to strain it. All right, all the way up. So keeping that same alignment, I'm just going to show the side view so that you're kind of, we're all in the same area. So you really want to get nice and tall. Watch you don't arch your back, pull the abs in. And now look all the way to the right. And if you can, slightly back. So a lot of the people that I've asked today to come are cyclists, not everybody. And a big part of us riding is being able to move our head. So look far as you can. Even your eyeballs are going to move to the outside of your I was going to say the outside of your brain, maybe. And then back. And every time you come back to center, just kind of recenter. I kind of do a little shake in my hips just to get nice and level. And then look over your left. Just take 3 breaths. Relax the shoulders. As you breathe in, get tall. Breathe out. And then one more time. And if my breaths are too long or too short, you go with your breath. I'm just trying to keep a steady rhythm. And then back to center. All right, let's get a little bit more of our shoulders and chest. So hands on your knees. Breathe in. Roll your shoulders back. Shoulder blades together. And lift your chest and your gaze. And then breathe out. And you're going to draw your belly in. Drop your chin to your chest. And then puff up your back. It's a modified cat-cow. We're just kind of working on the upper body. Breathe in, looking up. Breathe out and round. And one more time. Breathe in. And slowly breathe out. Come back. All right, so let's get off of the bottom and we're going to come into our hands and knees. So if you have a pillow, just move it off to the side. And you're going to come onto all fours. Again, I'm just going to do a side view. That's a little bit easier for me to demonstrate. So your hands are right underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. So you have a nice flat tabletop position. And we're going to do two cat-cows. When you're here, look down at your hands and make sure your fingers are spread out nice and wide and press firmly down into the palms. And I kind of sometimes grip with my fingers. So your hands are very much awake. Drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your sit bones, breathe in, and then draw your navel in. Drop your chin to your chest and breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. So now we're engaging a little bit more than just our upper back. We're starting to incorporate our hips. Let's do one more of those. Breathe in. And then breathe out. Again, really focusing on the upper neck and shoulders here. So extend your left leg. We're going to come into bird dog and your right arm out. And if you can kind of notice, try to get your right hand and your left foot and all in the same plane. And then draw your belly in so your back is nice and strong. And I want you to reach your left leg out to the left and your right arm out to the right. Just engaging the core a little bit here, getting your balance. Back to center. And then bringing it back. So from the front view, right leg back, left arm forward. Bring the right leg out to the right and the left arm out to the left. And you're reaching, draw the navel in. I'll keep saying that. That just means to keep your core engaged. Think of your spine nice and long, back to center, and then hands back. We're going to go back to that cat-cow, but instead of your hands forward, we're going to rotate them and have your palms facing you. Okay, so if you're on the computer a lot, or you tend to have tight wrists, you're really going to feel this. So if this is a little bit too much, I don't want you to turn your palm as wide. You can kind of have them out to the side. I particularly like this one. It really gets my forearms. So breathe in, lift your chest, lift your sit bones. As you exhale, round your spine. You're really going to get that stretch in your forearm. Breathe in. Again, noticing the shoulders. Try to bring the shoulder blades away from your ears. And then breathe out. Use your core here. Tuck your chin all the way into your chest. One more time, breathe in. And breathe out. All right, let's take out your wrist, fingers facing forward. And you have the option, we're going to do child's pose, of bringing your knees together or separating them out wide. It's totally personal preference. You're going to stretch out both arms forward. Drop your forehead down. And let's take 2 breaths together. So here you are in child's pose. And I want you to think of your breath and your expansion of the back of the ribs. So every time you breathe in, feel your belly against your thighs. Feel your back expand. And then I want you to move both hands slowly to the left. So what this is going to do is really open up the right side of your waist. Relax your head down, relax your shoulders. Slowly back to center and both hands over to your right, stretching the left side of your waist. Slowly back. So let's move into our first downward dog. So your hands are in front of you, and I know that you may, if somebody has problems with their shoulders, I'll show you a modification here. So spread out your fingers as wide as you can, stretch them out forward, and your hands should be shoulder distance apart. Make sure your middle finger is facing forward. If your shoulders are tight, you may want to rotate them out maybe 5 degrees. Scoop the toes under, and then extend the hips up like an upside down V. I'm just doing a side view here. And try to straighten your legs, dropping the heels. So this may come over time over the next few downward dogs. So starting with the hands, make sure your palms are pressed down firmly. Shoulders away from the ears. Draw your navel in. Lift your hips and drop the heels. Do that one more time. So from the hands, lift up through the hips. And now squeeze the front of your quads. We're going to slowly walk your feet in towards your hands. So you can walk them so they're right behind your wrists. Soften your knees and let your head drop. So it's getting a stretch to the back of the body, to the back of the hamstrings. Shake out your neck. Soften your knees and roll up nice and slow to a standing position. All right, here we are. We're on the front of our mat. We're going to start with sun salutation, also known as Surya Namaskara. I will walk through each of these poses so that you know what's coming. In today's class, most of the class poses are going to be done twice. So the sun salutation will be done twice, all of it, unless we run out of time. Okay, so toes and heels touching at the front of your mat. Stand up nice and tall, so shoulders over your hips, over your feet, and then the ears over your shoulders. So the palms are facing you. And this is a really tall pose from the bottom of your feet all the way to the top of your head. You can take a deep breath in here. Just feel grounded in your feet and the weight even between your toes and your heels. All right, Surya Namaskara A. So you're going to take a deep breath, stretch out your arms all the way out to the side, reach up overhead and look up at your thumbs. Breathe out, stretch your arms forward, come back into that forward bend. You can bend your knees if you need to, and bring your forehead towards your shins. Breathe in, looking up. Breathe out, I want you to step back with just your left foot. So you're in this high lunge position. You can have your fingertips touching or your palms touching. So you should feel a nice stretch to the front of the hip flexor in the right inner thigh. Step your right foot back for plank position. Let's take a moment, stretch out your fingers, middle finger facing forward. So there's that long waist. And then exhale, we're going to go all the way to our belly. So lower down. Sorry. And then top of the feet to the floor. We're going to begin with a cobra pose. So keep your hands where they are. Breathe in, shoulders away from your ears. Press your feet down into the mat. Let's take a couple more breaths. So this is the foundation of our back bend. We're going to do upward dog later on, but if you ever need to, this is where you'll start. And then you're going to slowly extend your arms. We got another breath. Downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under. You'll press yourselves up. Take 2 breaths, just kind of reset. And if this is ever too much, you can come into that child's pose. Shake out your head, one more breath. Step your left foot forward, back into that high lunge position. Step your right foot together with your left. Take a small breath here. Lift your chest, lift your gaze. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, swoop your arms all the way up, look up. Exhale, hands by your side. All right, so we'll do the exact same thing one more time. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, forward bend. Forehead to your shins. Breathe in, gaze up. Breathe out, left foot back. Breathe in, plank position. Breathe out, all the way to your belly. Breathe in, cobra. We'll just take an extra breath here. One more breath, inhale. Breathe out, downward dog. Breathe in, left leg forward. Breathe out, right leg forward. Breathe in, gaze forward, halfway lift. Breathe out, forward bend. Breathe in, sweep your arms up, look up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Standing nice and tall. All right, Surya Namaskara B. Adds a little bit more twist, a little bit more opening of the hips. So we're going to start in chair pose. Same thing, we'll do this twice, and we'll go slow the first time through. So chair pose, you're going to sit back, your knees are together, and you bring your arms up by your ears. This is going to create a small divot in your back. So you're not going to completely flatten your back, you're just going to hug that core in tight, and then see if you can sit a little bit deeper. You can have your shoulders, your hands shoulder distance apart, or you can bring them together. Wherever you do, make sure your neck is nice and loose, your shoulders away from your ears. Bring your hands to your heart center, your thumbs right next to your sternum, and then bring your left elbow to touch the outside of your right knee, and look all the way past your right shoulder. So when we are starting our poses, I have you looking over your shoulder with your eyeballs too. So this is where that comes into play. Look all the way up to the ceiling. See if you can sit down a little deeper. Good. Breathe in. Stretch your arms up. Stay in that chair pose. Breathe out and twist to the other side. This pose is really good for opening up that lower back. You can probably feel it already. Look all the way up to the ceiling. Breathe in, chair pose. So the quads should be a little bit fired up here. Forward bend, hands to the floor, head towards your shins. Halfway lift, breathe in. And from here, you're either going to, some of you guys who are used to yoga, you can step or jump back straight into plank. So you're in a high plank position. Your hands are underneath your shoulders, fingers spread out wide. You have the option to come into chaturanga, which is kind of like a push-up, where your elbows are by your ribs, or come all the way to your belly. Inhale, cobra, or come into upward facing dog. So an upward dog, you're lifting the legs off the floor. Take one more breath. As you exhale, slowly come back into downward facing dog. All right, warrior one. Step your right foot forward, pivot your back heel, bring both arms up, looking up. Again, we're just going to take this first round a little slow. See how your alignment is. The heels are for the most part in the same plane. Their back leg is not going to cross behind there. If your hips are tight, you can even bring your left leg up to the side a little bit more. Press the weight firmly into the back heel. Start to bend into the front knee. Lift up out of the waist. All right, we're going to go to cobra, warrior one on the other side. We're going to go through the same flow. So bring your hand to the mat, step your right foot back. Option one, chaturanga. Option two, all the way your belly to the floor. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, pivot your right foot, warrior one. So 3 breaths. Try to get this right hip to face forward, right shoulder forward, bend the front knee. One more breath. And exhale. Hands to the floor. Step back for plank. Breathe in for plank. Breathe out, chaturanga or roll in your belly. Breathe in, upward dog or cobra. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Step or jump your feet to the front of your mat between your hands. Halfway lift. Breathe out, forward bend. Bend your knees, chair pose, arms up, take a breath in. Breathe out, standing nice and tall. All right, Surya Namaskara, B, that was one of them. We're gonna do one more just like that. And I may add a little bit of some fun spicy things, so I'll let you know when we have variation. All right, chair pose. Come into that chair, breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, twist to your right. Look all the way past your right shoulder. One more breath. Breathe in, come into chair pose. Breathe out, twist to your left. Breathe in, arms up, chair pose. Squeeze those thighs together. Breathe out, hands to the floor and head towards your shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step or jump back for that high plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, downward dog. Warrior one, pivot your back heel, step your right foot forward. Arms up. We'll stay here for 2 full breaths. If you want to omit the flow, you can stay here a little longer and just go to the other leg. Let's flow, hands to the floor, step back with your right foot. Inhale, plank position. Exhale, lower. Inhale, open the chest and the hip flexors. Exhale, downward dog. Left foot forward. Let's settle into this pose. On the inhale, get nice and long. On the exhale, open up. Breathe in, plank position. Breathe out, lower down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, downward dog. All right, so I said we were going to do a little thing spicy here. So step forward with your right foot again. This time, drop your back knee. If you have a pillow and you want to put it underneath your left knee, you can. So we're in a lunge, but our back knee is down. I want you to bring both arms up overhead. So kind of this position where you really can get that hip flexor open. If you find that your knee comes too far over your front foot, I want you just to wiggle your front foot forward. All right, bring the elbows down. Squeeze the elbows towards each other from behind. Imagine a quarter between your shoulder blades and trying to pinch that quarter. All right, hands to your heart center. Add that twist. So this is a really powerful twist. A lot going on from your waist to your hips. Make sure that that right knee doesn't collapse in. So keep pressing that knee into the elbow. See if you can lift your chest to the height of your thumbs. And look over your right shoulder. All right, so here comes the spicy part. Just to have a little fun, I'll come into a side view here. So from here, tuck your back toes under and extend the back leg. Now you have a little bit more balance here to work with. Again, gaze at the floor, it'll help with balance. And see if you can step your left foot together with your right. So you're gonna balance, step, and now you're in that chair pose. Look over your right shoulder. And release, forward bend, hands to the floor. Shake out your head, shake out your legs. Step back with your right foot, drop your back knee. Let's get that hip flexor, arms all the way up. Open the chest. Arms back up, breathe in. Bring your hands to the heart center, thumbs next to your sternum, and twist. Don't worry about the balance, just work on those hips right now. Try to lift the chest so the sternum and the thumbs are lined up. Really get that twist a little bit more. Okay, let's gaze down at the floor. So I mentioned your hands spread out a lot. Same thing happens with your toes. You really want to bring your pinky down into the mat, the big toe. Let's tuck the toes under, pick up that back knee, and step your right foot together with your left. Press your thighs together, add that twist. And let's go ahead and let it go. Forward bend. And slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Good job. I hope you guys are worked up a little bit of a sweat already. I'm going to turn my mat around so this is easier. We're going to go into another set of poses or another flow. And we're going to get the inside and the outside of your hips. So we're going to start with a separate leg stretch. You can have your feet parallel or slightly pigeon-toed. Okay, hands on your hips. Breathe in, lengthen, get really tall. Exhale, contract the front of your legs, hinge forward at the hips. Bring your hands to the mat. So if this is really challenging, you may want to bend your knees a little bit here, but you want to keep thinking of that back, nice and long and flat. So I'm just going to walk it through, assuming there's various levels here. So you might be fine here. You're going to feel the outside of your, or the back of your legs. If you can, you're going to walk your hands so they're right underneath your shoulders, kind of in line with your toes, and you're going to bring the top of your head to the mat. So while you're here, notice the weight in your feet, the tendencies to get dropped back into the heels. See if you can shift your weight slightly towards the toes. Press into your hands, gaze forward, breathe in. Hands to your waist, and then come up with a flat back. Okay, so that's separate leg stretch. We're going to do a few variations with our upper body. We'll have our hands behind our back, but that's kind of our primary. And let's go into warrior two pose. So you're going to turn your right foot out. And I always use the right leg forward first. So usually, so just so you know, right always starts. And you're going to drop into your hips. Let's just take a moment here. So the alignment of the feet is pretty important here. So the right foot and the heel are aligned with the arch of your back foot. So just take a look, see how you're doing. And the foot again is parallel to each other or slightly turned in. All right. So imagine my belly facing you guys. I want you guys to just find your hips, your shoulders, bend into your right knee. Just start with that. And then from here, just try to get that right knee over the right side of your toe. So there's a lot of balance and a lot of give and take here with your hips. Find the happy place and let's stretch our arms out wide. Turn your palms up just for a moment. Draw the shoulder blades together behind you. Draw your abs in, and let's flip the hands. So now the palms are facing down. Drop into your hips a little bit more. Look over your right hand. Challenge yourself here with your breath. It's a balance between strength and surrender here. We're just going to do a little reverse warrior. So your right hand is going to slide down your left leg. Try not to collapse into it. You're lifting up out of that back leg. Reach your right arm up. Look over your right hand and reaching back. That right knee is still bent. If you can, you're gazing at that right palm. Come all the way up. So straighten your right leg, and we're going to go into triangle pose. I like to shorten my stance. The stance should be about 4 feet apart, so not as wide as a warrior pose. Stretch over your right leg. The right leg is straight now. Reach over, reach your right hand towards your shin, your ankle, or your big toe, and looking up at your left hand. Again, every time we're turning our head, it's that same alignment and the same integrity as we did when we started. Breathe in, come all the way up. Exhale and relax. You're going to turn your right foot in and the left foot. So we'll do the same thing to the other side. Stretch out your arms, drop your knee. Find the alignment of your feet. Turn your palms up just for a second. Align your shoulder blades together and down, and then flip your hands. And then try to bring that left knee to the pinky side of your left foot. Bring your right hand down and your left arm up. Inhale, come all the way up. Start to straighten your left leg, shorten the stance. Reach over your left leg, breathe in and out. Gaze up at your right hand. Take another breath. Should feel really good in your hamstrings and in the sides of your waist. Inhale. Exhale and release. All right, we're going to do that one more time. Again, everything I'm trying to do in 2 so you know what's coming. So separate leg stretch. Your feet are about 4.5 feet apart. Hands on your waist. Breathe in, lengthen, exhale, and hinging forward. Now you have the option to have your hands in front of you or interlace your hands behind your back. Draw your shoulder blades together, and as your head is reaching the mat, your hands are coming up and over. Three more breaths here. And slowly release. Hands to the mat. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, hands to your waist, and then all the way up. All right, pivot your right foot. Warrior 2. Breathe in. Exhale, and bend your right knee. Looking over your right hand. Reverse warrior, left hand down, right arm up and over. Go ahead and take a couple of breaths. I just want to make sure you guys, everything's good so far. Okay. Okay, triangle pose, come up, breathe in. Align your feet, straighten your right leg, reach over the right leg, right hand down, left arm up. Inhale all the way up. All right, so organize our feet for the other side. Right foot comes in, left foot to the outside. Virabhadrasana B, warrior 2. So bend the left knee. Look over your left hand. Settle into your breath. 3 breaths. Reverse warrior, right hand down, left arm up and over, keeping that front knee bent. And then again, not trying to collapse into that right side, but lifting up out of the right side. Coming up, organize your feet, Trikonasana, triangle pose. Reach over your left leg, breathe in, looking up at your right hand, breathe out. 3 breaths. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, Samasthiti. All right, so I'm not one to really drink water, but if you want a water break, this is a good time to do it. I'm gonna face you guys and just make sure we're good on time. Oh, we are perfect. Okay, I like that. All right, so we're gonna come seated and we're gonna finish with some seated poses. Sometimes people think seated poses are the easy poses. Sometimes they can be, but I find them particularly helpful to really focus in on a particular area. So Baddha Konasana is bound angle pose. In bound angle pose, you guys might know this better as like the butterfly pose. So with this pose, your heels are as drawn in towards your hips as you can. If your knees are really tight or this doesn't feel right, you can do this pose with your legs out in a V. It's just going to get a little bit more of that back of the legs, but it's still a good variation. So feel free to play with that. Another thing to play with, because we'll do this twice, is you can bring your feet farther in front of you. My background comes from Ashtanga, so if you guys have been practicing, you will relate that. So if you have other practices and you want to do a variation, you are more than welcome to. From here, my thumbs are going to grab the insides, the soles of your feet, and I'm turning my feet open like a book. And then from here, you're going to get nice and tall. So the abs are really, really strong, trying to lift up out of the hips because the hips kind of want to sink you down. So there's that. You keep lifting up as you breathe. And then we'll take 5 breaths and we're going to hinge forward. I do a lot of variations because this pose is very, very individual in my opinion. You can keep your hands on your feet or you can walk your hands forward. So whatever feels good, keep reaching your chest and your head forward in front of your feet. So I'm going to give you some more time on these seated poses. I want you to know that you're not going to come out of it super fast. One more breath together. Open that breath nice and long like an elevator. And then exhale. Inhale, come all the way up. All right. So Janu Shirshasana A, we're going to bring our left leg forward. And that right foot is right along the inside of your thigh. So it almost looks like a figure 4 position. All right, so for this pose, we're mostly focusing on this left leg, although some other stuff's going to happen on this right side that you'll see in a little bit. So support yourself with your outside arm and reach your right hand over to your right foot. Sorry, right hand to your left foot. Take a pause and just see what happens here. It's a small rotation in your spine, very subtle, but because of the way your hips are, you're going to feel this on the outside of your right hip. Breathe in, just like you did with Baddha Konasana, so nice and tall spine, and then hinging forward again. We'll take a few more breaths, and if you don't need this left hand to support you, you can bring both hands to your feet and drop your forehead towards your shin. Try to drop the right side of your waist, drop your right shoulder. Inhale to come up. Exhale, release. Okay, a variation of this pose. So now both thighs are out like a V, except that your right knee is bent. You're going to bring your left hand in front of you to support you and reach your right arm all the way up. Exhale and reaching over. Same thing with this hand. If you don't need it, you can reach for your hand and reach both arms to your left hand. This left hand just helps to keep your waist nice and long. Take 2 more breaths. Come all the way. It's pretty deep stuff, huh? Okay, feet together, Baddha Konasana. So I told you we were going to do this twice. So perhaps try something new, or if you really like what you did before, you can do that one again. There is a variation where you go forward flat, which we did. And there's another one where you round your spine. So I'll do the second one. I'll do the rounded spine one if you want to try that. You're going to pull your belly in, and you're going to imagine a beach ball in front of you, and you're going to round yourself so that your forehead reaches towards your toe, your upper back is puffed. I like this one because it's the exact opposite of what my neck does during my bike ride, so it feels really nice for me. Take a breath in together. Inhale, come all the way up. I could have marinated there all day. All right, so we're going to go to the other side. So right leg is forward, left foot is in. All right, so we haven't done too many poses. I guess we did triangle pose where we can really feel the difference between one side and the other. But I feel like this pose can really show some just imbalances. So support yourself with your right hand. Reach your left arm all the way up, reaching forward for that left foot. All right, so see how you feel. Drop that left shoulder, the left ribs, hinging forward. And then we'll take a few more breaths. You can use this right hand. If you don't need it, you can reach it forward. Then forehead or chin towards your shin. Every breath, get a little taller, a little longer over your leg. Exhale and letting go. One more breath. Inhale, lift. Exhale and release. Swing that right leg over. All right, so right hand in front of you for support. Stretch your left arm up and reaching over. So in these seated poses, I'm taking more of a 5 breath for each pose. You can definitely do this a lot longer. Or you can also do this pose a couple of times. Slowly release. Whew, that's good stuff. Okay, so last pose we're going to do is for the outside of your hips. It's a twist. And you can use a pillow. So you're going to bring your left leg underneath you and your right leg over you. So what tends to happen is that all the weight goes to this left hip. So you could find it beneficial. You may be like, doesn't help me at all, chief, but either way. So if you want, you can just prop up your left hip so now you're more balanced. You're going to bring your right knee to your left shoulder. And not sure how you feel, but this sure gets pretty tight right in the outside of the right hip. Let's go ahead and hold that right knee with the left elbow, right hand behind you. Get nice and tall. And this is like the ultimate super twist here. So twist from your lumbar spine, from your lower belly, then from your thoracic. So draw the right shoulder back, and then from your cervical spine. Look all the way past your right shoulder. One more breath. All right, let's go ahead and release. Switching sides. So you need the pillow on the other side as well. So the left leg is underneath you. Oh, I just did that. Sorry. Right leg underneath you, left leg over. Pop up your right booty. The knee comes into your chest. So if you don't use a pillow, which is fine, just notice that your weight is even on both sides of your hips as much as you can. So go ahead and hold that left elbow with the left knee with the right elbow. My apologies. Left hand behind you. The left hand is nice and light, so your weight is going to stay forward. If you need a lot of support, you can definitely lean back into that left hand. Take a breath. Twist from the belly. Take another breath. Draw that left shoulder back. And look all the way past your left shoulder. Let it go. All right. So we're going to end with bridge pose and then with final shavasana. So I'm going to go ahead and lay on my back. I want you guys to lay on your back. I'm going to lay side view on the perpendicular to my mat. So bring your feet in. And if possible, you're going to be able to touch your heels with your fingertips. Head is down. If you have a ponytail, just make sure you move it out of the way so your head's supported. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you guys have never done this before. If you have, feel free to go ahead and go into it. I want your shoulder blades pressed in. And bend your elbows so that your palms are facing each other. So you kind of look like a robot. Okay? And draw your shoulder blades and draw them straight into the floor and press not just your elbows, but your upper arms into the mat. Keep that intensity and start to lift up your hips. So hopefully you don't have to turn your head. You're not supposed to turn your head in bridge pose. Look towards your hips and your belly and see if you can get your hips to the height of your hands, if that makes sense. So if your hips are up and your hands are above it, try to lift your hips up a little bit more, scoop the tailbone. So you're going to use your hamstrings, your glutes, and your back here. Draw your belly in. And still looking towards your hips. See if you can breathe and expand your belly. Keep pressing the upper arms down into the floor. Trying to get the weight out of your neck here. Go ahead and lower down. Okay, so that just kind of shows you how much weight is in your arms and your upper back. You can do that again if you've never done that, and it felt really nice. I think it's a pretty nice way of doing bridge pose. If not, hands are parallel to each other. Same idea, you're pressing your arms down, your palms down, your head is light. Take 2 more breaths. You can think of this as an opening of the front of the body or a strengthening of the back. It's equal both. And then slowly lower down. And exhale. All right, so let's bring our hands to your knees. Let's bring them into a circle in one direction. And then slowly into a circle in the other direction. All right, so preparing for final shavasana. We made it. God, time flies. So you're going to extend your legs. If you have this wonderful pillow next to you, you can even put it underneath your knees. You might fall asleep, but that's okay. You're home. So your toes are flopped apart. I promise I won't fall asleep. And you have a few things you can do here if you've never done shavasana. My assumption is you all have. Is you can place your left hand on the top of your belly and the right hand on the top of your chest. It's a great way to do Shavasana, just to connect with your inner self, to get grounded. Another option is to have your hands out wide, just being completely open. So settle into your pose, see what feels right. We're going to be here for 2 minutes together. Slowly coming out of Shavasana, take a deep breath in and let it go. Start to wiggle your hands, wiggle your feet. You're going to walk your feet in towards you and lay on your side. Obviously, you're home, so if you're like, want to stay in Shavasana, enjoy. Go ahead and press yourselves all the way up. And coming back into that seated position. So thank you, everybody. I can't see you, so I would love to just have everybody put their videos on and we can have like a little happy hour, but I know it's only one way now. So thank you all for joining me. It was a great test run and I could feel all of you guys there, even though I can't see you. So thank you again. And I'll reach out and ask just some open-ended questions that would help me to do this if something I do more in the future. So namaste. Have a wonderful Friday. Enjoy the rain. And I'll see you later.